51 seconds. Let that sink in for a moment. If you're working in cybersecurity today, that number should absolutely terrify you. According to the 2025 CrowdStrike Global Threat Report, 51 seconds was the fastest recorded e-crime breakout time this year. That is literally all the time it takes for an adversary to compromise a machine and start moving laterally across your network. We aren't dealing with human speed attacks anymore, folks. We are facing adversaries who are weaponizing AI at machine speed. And this quote right here really hits the nail on the head. As CrowdStrike's CEO put it, the Legacy Security Operations Center is trying to fight a 21st century war with 20th century weapons. I mean, defenders are burning out left and right. We're looking at over 4 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs worldwide, plus a completely overwhelming volume of alerts. Security teams have essentially just become modern-day firefighters. We've relied on incremental automation like basic scripts and playbooks for the past decade, but those simply cannot close the widening gap between how fast attackers are moving and our capacity to defend. A massive shift to AI-driven security isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's an absolute necessity. So, as you're going through this explainer, you're probably wondering exactly where you fit into this crazy new reality. Well, if you've spent your career mastering identity and access management or IGA tools, I've got some incredibly empowering news. You actually already have 70% of the foundation needed to become an AI security engineer. That's huge. But what about that remaining 30%? Well, that is exactly where the identity of the future lives. And today, we are going to bridge that gap together. Here is our roadmap to get you there. We'll kick things off with the agentic cyber era. Dive into mastering non-human identities. Learn how to stop the confused deputy. Adopt policy as code, break down agentic threats, and then wrap it all up with your actionable AI security roadmap. Let's dive in. Section 1. The agentic cyber era. The whole enterprise paradigm is shifting massively right now. For decades, IM experts only had to focus on managing thousands, maybe tens of thousands of human employees. But as agentic AI takes over, we are rapidly moving into a world where we have to govern millions of autonomous AI agents. These aren't just dumb scripts. They reason, they make decisions, and they take action across multiple domains. It completely changes the game for how access has to be managed. Section 2. Master non-human identities. To survive this shift, you have to pivot your security strategies away from traditional user access and toward continuous agent attestation. It's all about ensuring that only authorized, legitimately born agents are allowed to operate within your environment. Just look at the stark contrast here. Traditional security relies entirely on human sessions. You know how it goes. There's a clear login, a period where you do some work, and then a clear logout. But AI agents? They literally never log out. They operate using machine accounts and API keys across entirely borderless environments, and this continuous autonomy often completely lacks any sort of session-based oversight. Your old perimeter-based models that rely on timeouts are practically useless against an entity that never sleeps and is literally always on. Section 3. Stop the confused deputy. This is where we need to look closely at the unique authorization vulnerabilities that pop up when AI tools dynamically start acting on our behalf. So what exactly is this vulnerability? In the AI world, the confused deputy problem happens when an agent, the deputy, actually holds higher system privileges than the human user interacting with it. If that agent doesn't have proper privilege isolation, a bad actor can use something like prompt injection to trick it into doing things it really shouldn't be doing. Think about an AI assistant that has deep database access, but it doesn't double-check user input. An attacker could easily manipulate it into running high-level privileged queries, basically turning your helpful, friendly AI tool into a massive internal weapon. To combat this, your mindset as an IAM expert has to fundamentally shift. You need to architect context-aware and risk-adaptive authorization. It is nowhere near enough to just slap a static role onto a machine identity and call it a day. Access has to be dynamically granted based on the specific task that the agent is trying to execute in that exact millisecond. If an agent normally just summarizes emails for you, but suddenly it decides to try and export a highly sensitive HR database, the context has shifted, and your authorization framework must adaptively block it right then and there. Moving on to Section 4. Adopt policy as code, because in an era of uncontrollable agent sprawl, your manual access reviews and giant spreadsheet-based governance models are completely, totally dead. They just cannot keep up with machine speed operations. What we're looking at here is the fully automated agent identity lifecycle pipeline. From the exact moment an agent is created, its birth, moving through dynamic permissioning, continuous credential rotation, all the way to instant revocation and eventual decommissioning. Every single one of these steps must be rigorously systematically governed if you want to maintain zero trust principles in a modern AI ecosystem. And how exactly do you govern it? By building robust policy-as-code frameworks. You need systems that automatically enforce just-in-time access and spin up ephemeral credentials on the fly. I mean, think about it. Why on earth should an AI agent hold on to API access for a full 24 hours if the task it's doing only takes 2 seconds? Policy-as-code ensures that an agent gets tool access for the exact millisecond a task requires, and then it revokes it instantly. That is quite literally the only way to effectively shrink your blast radius if one of your agents ever gets compromised. Section 5. Learn agentic threats. Look, you already know legacy terms like phishing or brute force, but to become an AI security engineer, you have to learn the cutting-edge attack vectors that specifically go after AI models and multi-agent systems. To get up to speed, you absolutely need to familiarize yourself with the OSP Agentic Security Initiative. This has quickly become the new gold standard for understanding complex dependencies and the risks of excessive agency in AI. It gives us a really structured taxonomy for identifying vulnerabilities, everything from a single agent exploit up to massive cascading failures across multiple agents. Let's break down a few of the scariest agentic threats from this taxonomy that you have to master. First up is T1, memory poisoning, which is exactly what it sounds like. An attacker corrupts an agent's long-term memory. Then there's T2, tool misuse. This is where an agent is tricked into chaining different tools together, like maybe reading a secure customer database and then using an email tool to silently exfiltrate that data out of the network. And finally, T5, cascading hallucinations. This one is honestly wild. It's when a single compromised or hallucinating agent passes bad data to other agents, and that one little lie spreads like wildfire, propagating systemically across your entire multi-agent architecture. Let's actually look a little closer at T1, memory poisoning, because I think it brilliantly illustrates just how fundamentally different AI security is. Unlike traditional web apps where clearing a user session just resets the state, AI agents actually maintain long-term memory, usually through vector databases. So if an attacker manages to inject adversarially crafted content into that database, they've essentially planted a false memory, creating a persistent, totally invisible backdoor. Every single time the agent recalls that poisoned information in the future, it drives unsafe or unauthorized decisions across countless user sessions. It's incredibly dangerous. And finally, Section 6, your AI security roadmap. The big takeaway from everything we've talked about in this explainer is that this transition isn't just about learning a new software tool. It's a massive career evolution, from simple identity management into complex identity orchestration. So, what's your game plan? Where should you start right now, today? First, go read and study the OWASP Agentic Security Initiative guide we just went over. Second, start exploring the enterprise-ready solutions that are being built for this new paradigm, tools like Microsoft Entra Agent ID and the upcoming Microsoft Agent 365 platform. And third, start actively transitioning your legacy identity management knowledge into modern IGA platforms that are actually built to handle the lightning-fast life cycles of AI agents. The AI decade isn't coming sometime in the future. It is already here today. Adversaries are moving at machine speed, and the enterprise landscape is rapidly filling up with millions of autonomous agents. So, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to think about as you map out your own career trajectory. Are you going to remain a legacy admin, or are you going to step up, close that 30% gap, and become an AI security architect? The roadmap is right in front of you, and the choice is entirely yours.